All right, so what we got coming up next? First of all, if you go to the video that I put out prior to this video, or the previous two, I did explain some details concerning Venus entering into Taurus. However, these are separate details that are critical, and they will be quite impactful as far as you seeing it in your actual, your physical reality. And it's a demand for your attention. It's a demand for your care. And it also demands a sacrifice, because this is a square. When you have squares, sacrifices are demanded. Squares are not easy because it causes us to confront our willpower, our humility, and the ability to let go according to what's in our best interests. Like Jesus said, if your right hand offend thee, then cut it off, or your right arm offends you, cut it off. There are other, interpretations that does suggest cut your right arm off if it means to save the whole body. So this is one of those cases, of cutting off your right arm in order to save the body. And so where a demand is required is, of course, at your Aquarius placement. You want to look at your Aquarius placement where you have Pluto, the house, and whatever aspects or planets that you have there. This is where you're going to have to make some adjustments, transformations toward the future trajectory in a way that makes your future more promising in that area of your life. Okay, that's the means by which you alleviate the pressure. It's also the means by which you see a promising future trajectory with the crisis that may appear this weekend, is through Aquarius. That's where you have to make the change, through that means. Okay, change means to transmute, transform, okay, or to face a power struggle that has been ongoing, that now demands your attention, decisiveness, and your presence toward the future. What are you going to do to make sure that you don't see this again or have to deal with this again? Not in a way of playing escape, not in a way of playing projection or deflection, but where you stand flat-footed and you acknowledge, okay, this is my responsibility. This has been calling for me for a long time. And now I'm going to turn around. I'm going to confront this. I'm going to finally deal with it and not just continue to pretend like it's not an issue. It's going to grow me. It's going to transform me. So what you end up having to do, it's not going to be a quick fix, because it's dealing with Pluto. It's going to grow you. It's going to empower you. It's going to strengthen you over the long run. It's going to put you in a better position. It's going to align you with what makes more sense for who you are evolving into. Part of that square is also Venus in Taurus. So this is going to have to do with finances, making financial decisions, economical decisions and choices, also decisions concerning resources, and as related to finances, your sense of stability. And because it is Taurus, it has to do with where you probably are not comfortable with making changes, where you are very fixed and stubborn about what you have going on. And you're going to have to open your mind. You're going to have to see that Aquarius view ahead, that Pluto Aquarius view ahead, in order to see that even though it is uncomfortable, even though it may make you feel like you are destabilizing yourself in the moment, you are stabilizing yourself for the long run trajectory. Uranus does have a lot to do with this change. Uranus is at the final degree of Taurus, and he's, making this demand toward the future. And he is also the Lord of Aquarius, co-Lord of Aquarius. So on the way out of Taurus, this is a final note. Ceres is also in Taurus. And this is where we have the impulse that connects us to how we attract or align with our personal resources and needs. So Venus being in Taurus, this very much could be where you have a sense of stability in relationships and your financial disposition, or whatever area of your life that will give you the context, or the house, okay? The house context. The house is what gives you the context of how this applies to you. But this is the area of your life where you need to rely on to feel stable. It's where you need to rely on to feel like you are grounded in your life. Okay, if this part shakes or moves, everything seems to shake and move. It may also demand that you make adjustments, negotiations, and changes in what your personal values are. You know, you may have personal values and convictions, comforts, or ideals of what you think is comfortable for you that has to change. And Pluto is going to win in this, okay? So do not try to outstrip Pluto. Do not try to, push Pluto around, because Pluto's going to pin you on the ground and slap the shit out of you. That's just all that's going to happen, and you're going to end up doing it anyway. Now, the moon is in Scorpio at this time, okay? With the moon being in Scorpio at this time, there's a lot of support here. The fact that the moon is in Scorpio, you already are in a transmutative, if that is a word, a transmuting disposition of yourself and your emotional body. You are already prepared to take the blow. You could take any hit with the moon being in Scorpio. When the moon is in Scorpio, you are in a favorable position. This means that you have the emotional fortitude, you have the resilience, you have the patience, you have the depth in wisdom. You also have the ability to immediately transmute whatever impact you take. It's like the horseshoe crab. I know you all heard about the horseshoe crab who, when there's an injury to the horseshoe crab, it immediately has the ability to, repair itself, to start healing itself. This is like you being Venom in a sense. Venom has that supernatural power of, immediately healing itself. So this is you getting hit while you're in a status of Venom. You know what I mean? Like with the moon being a Scorpio, you're not going to get thrown on your back by this. You're not going to get, knocked out of the field by this. You know what I'm saying? You're still going to be standing strong. You're still going to take it like a champ. You might get hit in the jaw, but you're going to spit the blood out your mouth. You know what I'm saying? You're going to look back and go say, all right, yeah, I could take a couple more hits. You know what I'm saying? No problem, whatever. I got this. You heard? So you're going to bounce back. Don't worry. Don't fall apart. You also have a great deal of ambition with the moon being in Scorpio. With the moon being in Scorpio, you are in a warrior spirit. You're going to face it with a Martian disposition in yourself, okay? The moon is also in a strong agreement with Pluto. Even though there's a square, that square is more of, I don't want to do this, I don't feel like doing this, but I know I have to do this, and I'm ready to do this. I'm in position to do this. You know what I mean? I'm conditioned for this. I'm fit for this. And so you definitely going to take this situation like a champ, and whatever it is that unfolds this weekend with this square, you already are in transmutation position. Okay, so this is favorable. This is a blessing to you. If the moon was not in Scorpio, I can have a lot of concern about how this is going to go. You might fall apart. You might start crying and shit. I don't know, whatever. You know what I mean? You get bust in your mouth and you just lay down and, you know what I'm saying? You just give up the ghost. You don't even want to go back in there. But, you're definitely going to handle this, the best way, a good way, you heard? So, y'all niggas out there, don't be scared and shit, you know what I'm saying, when it happen. You know what I mean? We gonna take it like a champ. Scorpio is holding us down. Now there's an opposition. With me saying all of that, opposition means there's going to be an incorporation of Scorpio fortitude and resilience that goes behind Venus, because Venus is having a hard time in Taurus. She's very stubborn there. She don't want to move. She don't want to budge. She needs to be comfortable. She don't want to be disturbed. She don't want her peace disturbed. She slow and steady wins the race. But when the demand is when an electrical and shocking sudden demand from the future is, busting up in her office or bringing, the sheriff bring a note to the door, there's a warrant out for her, all of a sudden, it could be really startling. Out of nowhere, this shit start happening. It was all good just a week ago. Now I'm going through this. Nah, don't panic. You know what I'm saying? Because everything is conspiring in your favor. Remember that too. The Jupiter is trine to the Scorpio moon. Okay, remember, Jupiter is trine to the Scorpio moon. With Jupiter being trine to the Scorpio moon, you have to remember that what is Jupiter's will? Okay? Jupiter's will is to manifest your personal year. Listen to me. Jupiter's will is to manifest your personal year. So, your soul is already inclined to express the personal year. There's a motive, there's an intention behind the personal year. Alright? So, Jupiter's aim is, how do I help you with this while also keeping you aligned with the trajectory of your personal year within the outcome? Okay? So that's what Jupiter's going to do. Jupiter's going to support you in a way that keeps you aligned with what you're manifesting of your personal year. So this is why you need to know your numerology. Get behind the scenes with me so I can help you with these things. You know what I'm saying? Don't just be guessing this shit. You got to know the numerology too. You just can't be looking at, your astrology charts and just going with you. You got to look at the numerology, all of that too, and put it together. You know what I'm saying? So Jupiter is supporting that moon. And not only that, remember, the moon is a mother of that territory, Cancer. Okay, so Jupiter overpowers all things. Jupiter overpowers all of these planets. You know what I'm saying? So you have a lot of backing to this situation. You also have a lot of backing in the stellium of Pisces. Okay, Pallas Athena. All right, so you have a great deal of wisdom there that's present and charging that moon. You have Mars, a lot of assertive, intuitive force that lets you know what to do. Okay, it's like it's natural to you where you don't have to think so much. Mercury retrograde is also loaded with a lot of clarity and trust in the intuitive body and what must be done. You know what I'm saying? The stellium is also in Pisces, which means that you're right at the realm of manifestation. So whatever has to be done, you're manifesting at will. So this is why we have to keep clarity in the emotions as well. Now listen to me. The deeper we get to the truth, the closer we get to the truth, the more aligned we stay with the truth, the clearer our conscience. The clearer our conscience, the more emotional surplus that we get to enjoy, okay, to manifest that will. Because this is a co-creative energy, or timeline that we're in. 1 and 0, 10. You understand? The collective year of 1 and 0. Alright? So, the topics that I ask us to show resilience to show some courage for, okay? Feminism is falling, and y'all niggas start crying, and, oh my God, he talking about feminism. What we gonna do? He talking about feminism. Calm the fuck down. You know what I mean? Feminism is a problem for all of us. And if you act in denial and you running around pretending like it don't have nothing to do with nothing, how do we properly connect to Cancer? You don't. Because you're hiding from what caused us to have to come to manifest this correction. What are we correcting? You understand? So feminism, just like white proximity, it's to subject ourselves to a practice of alienation from Cancer. That's essentially what it is. 1 through the feminine and 1 through the masculine. 1 through Libra and 1 through Capricorn, and inappropriate disposition of ourselves. All right. So both directions result in the same thing, and it has to do with who we become corrupting ourselves at Capricorn. All right. The corruption of the self in Capricorn, it brings us to a fear-based living, a fear-driven living. Okay, because of all of the branches of consciousness that results from that, and comparing ourselves, competition, seeking to be in agreement and alignment with the status quo and what's expected of us, and all the burdens that we put up on ourselves, especially financially, because of that. The burden and strain that we put on ourselves morally because of that. Understand? Okay, so if we can't be real and transparent about these things, we can't get to the underlying truth of what has been driving us. And this is part of how we got into the crisis that we're in right now, that we have to rectify with Venus. After all, we follow Venus into it. Understand that. This is what we follow Venus into. So we have to take corrective action right now at this square. All right, which takes us out of the bind that we got ourselves into with Venus. This could be with relationships. This could be with finances. All right, where hard decisions, obviously have to be made. There's some things of comfort that we may have to sacrifice or put aside, for the future trajectory. And we have to go through the algorithm of Aquarius Pluto. The algorithm of Aquarius Pluto it's a detached consciousness, all right, that allows us to lean on our intellectual power, our visionary state of consciousness, to see how today relates to the outcome of tomorrow. Okay, and we're dependent on our ability to be that visionary for ourselves, to make the necessary sacrifices that we can't allow ourselves to be limited by, based on the comfort that we prefer today. You understand? So you're sacrificing some comforts and illusions of stability today so that you can enjoy freedom, liberation that takes you into a smooth transition into your future opportunity. This is a sharp alignment with your personal year, okay? And this first step into your liberation, that's here for you. Anyway, I'm sure there's things that I might have missed over, but also synonymous with this, we have Juno in Aquarius, okay? Juno in Aquarius. Juno in Aquarius is changing our commitments. It's changing what we are monogamous to. It's changing what we are devoted to and committed to. It's also changing why we are present in the relationships that we have. Listen. Juno doesn't mean that you're going to change relationships necessarily. It's changing why you're there. It's changing the reasons why you're still in the relationship, or the reasons that you now are connecting to with other people through. Okay? So Aquarius now becomes the reason why we are present with others. The reason why we desire to connect or be with others. It changes the focus point of our connections in relationships. It also changes what we are attracting into our realm. Okay? So Juno often brings soul contracts into your life. Okay? There could be soul contracts that come through Juno. Because it's in Juno, you will find that the point of connection between you and others who are new into your life, they will carry most likely Aquarian traits with them if they enter at this point in time. Okay? And this could be that there needs to be an intellectual opportunity between the two of you that you both agreed to in another timeline. You know what I mean? So, you could look for that. Also, the full moon Libra. Full moon Libra. Remember, full moon Libra is going to be square Cancer, Jupiter. Okay, full moon Libra. Full moon Libra, our entire trajectory of relationships is changing. Why we're in relationships, why we're entertaining anymore. What we feel is worthy of our time. Rather not we're prioritizing the self or allowing ourselves to prioritize others a little more. Okay, relationships are changing entirely, and we're getting closer to an air disposition in our relationships, which is more of detached disposition in our relationships. We will find that love is more sincere. Love is more true when you approach it detached. Okay? Attachments and ideas of love, it can confuse love when there's not detachment, because when there's neediness, there's confusion about where love is. Okay? Neediness can hide fear, insecurity, and very toxic traits underneath. But when we approach others from a detached disposition, which is you are engaging those who you want to be engaged with based on purpose that you see, opportunity that you see that is fulfilling or purposeful. Love is not only more genuine and fulfilling, it is sweeter, and it allows wisdom to be present within that. Okay? So it's a higher degree to be with someone because you want to be with them, not because you feel like you need to be with them. You understand? I hope we understand that. So we're getting higher and higher here. Anyway, all things considered, questions, comments, different things like that. This is just, give some awareness of what's coming down the pipeline, toward the weekend. Y'all can look for that. Get with me behind the scenes for your personal insights into all these different transits coming up. April is going to be something serious. You may want to get with me, for some insights into that. Whenever there's a new moon or full moon, you really should be getting a reading. You know what I mean? But anyway, like, share, subscribe, comment, all of that other stuff. Appreciate all the support from those out there who show your support. Peace.